I don't buy that one bit from Shohei Ohtani. I really don't. And that there will come a time during this process when Roki Sasaki is posted that him and Roki Sasaki will eventually speak, and there will be some type of swaying happening from Ohtani to Sasaki to come to the Dodgers.
To warm up that drive home.
Just like I'm saying with you, Darvish. I'm like, hey, you, why are you not texting this guy all the time saying, come to San Diego? Or whenever he gets posted, come to San Diego.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
What's going on, San Diego? Jon and Jim on a Monday, another solo show as me and Brett will take you up until 5:15 tonight because we have Monday Night Football, Chargers and Ravens right here on San Diego Sports 760. John's going to join us from Las Vegas coming up here at the bottom of the hour.
He's going to join us from the tables.
Probably. John doesn't really gamble. Like I've been to Vegas with him. What now? 4 times? Actually, I take that back. He's more of a gambler than me. And I don't gamble like at all. But yeah, he still doesn't really gamble much. He plays the craps table, I think. But other than that, nothing.
But
really.
I could see John being one of those guys that when there's people around, he's like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm not going to gamble. But when he's there by himself and there's nobody there to judge him or anything, he's just like, let it ride.
He's like, yeah, $150 on black. Whatever. It's all good. So yeah, John's in Vegas.
There goes Jones's scholarship.
Yeah,
fund.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I encourage. I don't like to do it. Like I'm never going to be an irresponsible gambler, but I encourage other people to be irresponsible gamblers because it's entertainment to me. I like seeing other people just like bet a bunch of money, and I'm not saying I want to see people lose, but I also find it funny when I see people betting like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I'm like, I don't even have that much money to gamble. Like if I gamble that much money and I lost, I would like literally go into depression. It'd be awful. So John hopefully is not gambling away Jones's college tuition. And he's in Vegas. The NIL tournament starts tomorrow morning against number 21 Creighton. We'll get into that game later in the show. But today, Brent, I wanted to start with San Diego State football. And it's, look, Saturday's game, to me, kind of just felt like what this whole season has been, which has been blah. Now, I've said, look, I am not going to crucify Sean Lewis for his first year because he had to flip over an entire team, an entire coaching staff. He has a true freshman starting quarterback. There's a lot of new here at San Diego State. But, you know, when you come in and you preach Aztec fast and you preach you're going to put up a bunch of points and a fast-paced offense, Utah State's offense was faster than San Diego State's. This is week 10? 11. This is week 11. You know, weeks 1, 2, and 3, you're like, okay, you know, you gotta have some time to figure things out. Okay. But Saturday's game, you know, along with this team and the amount of penalties that they have had throughout the entire season, it becomes very frustrating. It's a very frustrating watch. Do I still believe in Sean Lewis? Yes, I'm not going to abandon ship after 11 games. I'm not. But I was hoping for something better than this. I was hoping that we could see, like, towards the end of year one, some things you're like, I like that going into next year. That's really encouraging. This is really good. I'm not, like, going to completely destroy the program right now, but I'm going to say, like, I think a lot of fans were hoping to see something a little more than this. You know, I'm looking at the numbers here. And you want to know how many points they're averaging this year, Brent? A little over 21. You want to know how many points they averaged last year? Right under 21. And the biggest thing from last year's team was the fan base wanted an offensive-minded head coach. Boom, you got it. Sean Lewis. Perfect. You wanted him to go out and get not the top rated quarterback in the class, but a really competent quarterback. Okay, done. Got Danny O'Neal. But something, I don't know if it's just year one. I don't know if it's just like there's so many new players on the team. It just has not clicked for an extended period of time. They've lost 4 in a row, back-to-back blowout losses. The score should have probably have been worse. Back-to-back 41-20 losses. And I'm just like sitting here, you know, what do you think, Aztec fans? 877-767-4760 or starting message 70470 with team. I believe in Sean Lewis. And I said I would give him not a pass on year one, but I would also not jump ship after 11, 12 games. I just wouldn't. But what has been different about this year than last year? That's kind of where I'm at. Like when you hire a new head coach, especially coming off of one of the worst seasons in over a decade with this program. I mean, we are back now, San Diego State football. We are back to the 2007 to 2010 days. You know, that's where you're at here. From 2010 all the way up until, 2 years ago, this program went to bowl game after bowl game after bowl game, won conference championships after conference championships. They were never a high-powered offense. I think in the last decade plus, the most points they averaged per game was a little over 30, and that still was only, I think, like barely top 40 in the nation. They've never been a program, at least in the last decade plus here, that's a top 10 offense. But with Sean Lewis, you were hoping, okay, you were 114th in total offense last year. You're 112th in total offense this year. Like, you wanted to see a jump there. You wanted to see a jump from like 114 to like 85. Like if you made that jump this year where you're all of a sudden the 85th, 90th ranked offense in the nation, that's where like, okay, the building block, you see it. You can see the progress. You see things happening. But it's the same. It's the same. So I'm not saying that I'm jumping ship. I'm not, because I'm not. I believe in Sean Lewis, and I need to see year 2 to make a full, like, definitive thought bubble process with Sean Lewis. But I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, it's kind of the same that we saw, and I understand there's a lot of newness here, but I was hoping for more.
Look, we all knew it was going to be a process, and we knew it was going to be rough at times. But, lots of it is, like you said, the penalties, because, anyone that's watched, all the snaps this year, we've had countless big plays and countless touchdowns taken off the board for, pretty much for shooting ourselves in the foot for, illegal motion at the beginning of the year. We kept getting called for and holding and, offensive pass, you name it. We've been called for it because we led the nation in penalties for a long time. But it's going to be a process. It's not, we knew it wasn't something that, they were going to come in and by week 3, they're going to be scoring, 40 points a game.
No, I understand that. And, the things that you talked about there, that falls on coaching. It does. And Sean Lewis would tell you, like, that's on me. I got to do a better job. When you have that many procedural penalties and you have that many penalties in the offensive line, that to me goes down to the basics of coaching, which is making sure everybody's in the right spot and making sure that your team, as the season progresses, becomes a more disciplined football team. And they have not done that. They have either stayed the same or have gotten worse as the year has gone on with the amount of penalties. And yeah, if you want to blame the refs, go ahead. But I'm looking at the actual team, the amount of penalties that they've had, and it's not a good watch right now. It's just not.
They actually have improved the penalties a lot.
Well, not the offensive line.
They have. If you go back and watch they were getting almost 18 penalties a game the first like 5 games. So compared to what they were doing, they've calmed it down, but it's still bad because they're still doing way too much. But I think too, the pace was there at the beginning of the year, but they kept leaving the offense of, when they're going to go at the fast pace, if it doesn't work, you're going to have lots of 3 and outs, and they were tiring the defense out. So they were getting too many 3 and outs. And by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, the defense was so gassed, they had nothing left. And I think Coach Lewis kind of made an adjustment to try and say, we're going to speed it up a little bit, but not as fast as we were, because otherwise, the defense is going to be dead by 8 games into the season. But I will say this, they're at least trying to move at a faster pace. I'm going to compare it to Luke Fickell just got hired, last year or 2 years ago at Wisconsin. And he promised a lot like Sean Lewis did, that it was going to be a more up tempo. We're going to throw the ball more, all that stuff. And he hasn't even attempted to do any of that. He's done the same stuff. He's still handing the ball up the middle 3 times in a row, just like the previous guys were. He's not even attempting to throw the ball down the floor or down the field. At least the Aztecs are trying. It's not, like you said, it's not clicking at the moment, but I didn't really expect it to click in the first year. If this is happening at this time next year, then I'll be raising red flags. But as of right now, I didn't really expect much. We just kind of wanted them to improve a little bit each week.
They had 12 penalties against Utah State. They had 9 penalties against UNLV. They had 8 penalties as a team against New Mexico. I am not sitting here and raising the "it's over" flag. I'm not. But I am sitting here saying, you better be better next year. I'm kind of in that mindset of you, Brent. The breakdown and the what's going on here. This is a problem. If they're the same next year, this is like a warning almost. It's a little bit of a warning. And I am sitting here saying I'm not happy with this season. I'm not going to lose my S over it, but I am not that happy with it. I don't think fans are happy with it either. I think fans are the most impatient group of people ever. You can put me into that category as well. I am very impatient. And it's tough when you have someone come in here, Sean Lewis. I like Sean a lot. We've talked to him a dozen times here. When you have someone come in and you preach something and you haven't really fully seen it yet, that gets very frustrating because you can't wait. It's just, that's how it is. And so when this season has gone almost not identical to last year, but the numbers are pretty close to last year's numbers. They're averaging the same amount of points. They're giving up almost 30 points a game. Their pass yards per game they're only averaging, I think, 30 more pass yards. Last year's team averaged around 170 pass yards per game. This team's averaging just a tick over 200 yards per game. On the ground, they're averaging less than last year's team. So I'm kind of sitting here hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that this is going to work. But as of right now, what we've seen, it's not looked good. And I've just wanted to see something a little bit more, something more I could stick my teeth in, something more where I could be like, yeah, I'm going to use that, hold on to it for the entire offseason and carry that into next year. What is that one thing? Marcus Cooper's not coming back. Danny O'Neill, we're got to see what happens with the transfer portal, and hopefully he comes back. And he's done some nice things this year. Trey White, is he going to return? What's that one thing you can dig your teeth into with this Aztec football program and be like, yes, that's what I can't wait for next season? As of right now, it's been kind of the same and stagnant and kind of resembling last year's football team. And I think, fans are a little bit annoyed by it. And I get that. So what is that one thing? 877-767-4760. We'll get your answers coming up next. John's going to join us at the bottom of the hour, the wrap. Also, we have a short show today. We're going till 5:15 tonight because we got Chargers and Ravens Monday Night Football right here on San Diego Sports 760. But more on the Aztecs football team. Also, Roki Sasaki. Is he interested in the Padres? Is there a report out there that he's interested? We'll talk about that coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 is celebrating the season with the iHeartRadio Holiday Special. One night to get you in the holiday spirit with exclusive performances from Dan and Shay, Jennifer Hudson, Jimmy Fallon, and Kelly Clarkson, hosted by Mario Lopez, the Trader. Listen to the show Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Holiday Seasons Radio on our free iHeartRadio app. So, San Diego State football, it's been a rough season, year one here for Sean Lewis, and I think fans are, as impatient. Like, I understand that. And going into the offseason, there's going to be a lot of questions with Sean Lewis. Can he fully turn this thing around? Can this offense actually put up points? Where are they going to improve? What's that one thing you can bite your teeth in to take in the offseason that you're excited about for next year's Aztec football team? 877-767-4760 if you want to chime in and give me your thoughts. We go to line 5, Brent, with John. John, what's up, man?
What up, Cadillac John? What up, Jim?
What's up, man?
Brent?
What's up?
So, I feel like Coach Lewis gets at least a year pass from me. I mean, this first year, let's give him a year, and then what I'm looking forward to next year is just progress, the fact that he's on board, and I'm open with the idea that he's going to progress on every aspect. I don't need to have, like, a specific part, like running or passing. I'm okay with it. We can give the guy a year.
Thanks for the call, John. Appreciate it, buddy. There's differences between giving a guy a pass and giving a guy a year. Giving a guy a pass is looking past the deficiencies and looking past things that in any other year you would be criticizing him for. Giving him a year is what I'm doing. I'm giving him a year to start to see improvement with this program. I'm not giving this team a pass. I think those are two different things in my mind. Like, giving someone a pass, it's like if you F up something, like I'll give you a pass on that. It's fine. Like, that's not how I view this. I view this as I'm giving you time to figure things out. I don't really particularly enjoy what I'm watching right now, but I understand that this does take time. It's like baking a cake. You're going to bake the cake, you take it out halfway. Some of the edges are fully cooked, but the middle is still cake batter. You need to give it more time. Am I going to throw the cake away? No, I'm going to wait. But if after the time is up, pull the cake out and the cake's still not good, then we're going to have some issues here. So I'm not giving him a pass on this season. I'm giving him time. I'm giving him a year. That's how I view it. Not a pass. I'm giving him time. But it is a little, I can't sit here and say it's not a little concerning. I can't say it's not a little concerning because, you come in here and it's like Aztec fast, put up a bunch of points, and it's not happening. It's not happening at all.
Look, it's all about messaging. They're trying, that's the message for the future. If the Padres talk about how, hey, we think we're going to score a bunch of runs this year, and then they don't, we don't all sit here and be like, puh, man, he said they're going to score runs this year and they're not scoring runs. He's a liar. It's just like, it's just not working out. And another thing too, JD said it was either this week or a couple weeks ago that, if you remember, the fans wanted to run Brian Dutcher out of town too after his second year. And that worked out pretty well. I think they're glad that they didn't, get rid of him when everybody wanted to, because they didn't think that he was a good coach and that, he didn't turn the program around quick enough, and that they just had to get rid of him. And, now he's, one of the best and most respected coaches in all of college basketball.
By no means am I sitting here trying to run Sean Lewis out of town. No shot am I doing that. But I also am a realist, and nobody is above criticism. We talk about that with Manny Machado all the time. And we talk about that, with other players here in San Diego. Sorry, no one gets to pass here. If you deserve criticism, you're going to get criticized. I don't think Sean Lewis doesn't deserve any criticism for this year. I think he does. And I think he would tell you the same thing. I think he would tell you he's frustrated. And I think he would tell you he wished the season went better. And I think he would tell you, yeah, I wish we could have averaged, a touchdown more a game, or whatever in his mind he was looking at for like a benchmark for this season to get to. But as of right now, it's the same as last year. Just different players in different jerseys. And I hope that this offseason, after this game against Air Force on Saturday night, which, it'd be nice for them to win, because if they didn't win, then, 3-9, it's not good. That's not good. And in sports, especially college football, it's a lot about first impressions. And I have to say, there's been times this year where I've looked at this team and looked at this offense and thought that's really good. But that's very far and in between compared to all the stuff that I don't like and all the stuff that I've seen that I just think, sitting here, it's like, that needs to be better. And so hopefully this offseason, he goes out, recruits his ass off, hopefully get some studs in here, hopefully can retain some players to keep some continuity. Same thing with the coaching staff. And then go into next season and hopefully hit the ground running, because you've had a full year to build this offense, to build the groundwork for this program. You start out slow next year and you put up another 4 or 5 win season and you don't get to a bowl game, then I think that's when you can start to have real concerns. Right now, I understand it. I'm frustrated too. I'm sure the players are frustrated. I'm sure the coaches are frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. They want to see a better product. They want to see more wins. I'm not giving them a pass, but you got this first year. Hopefully next year will be much, much better. All right, John's going to join us at the bottom of the hour from Vegas. We'll talk to him about tomorrow's Aztec basketball game against Creighton in the NIL tournament. I'll get his thoughts on San Diego State football as well. This is Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. San Diego State losing their fourth straight game Saturday afternoon to Utah State 41-20. Their final home game of the season will be this Saturday night against Air Force, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. And the NIL tournament in Las Vegas starts tomorrow morning. The Aztecs opener in the tournament will be at 11 a.m. against number 21 Creighton. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. This update's been brought to you by Progressive. All right, back here on Jon and Jim on a Monday. Me and Brent will take you up into Monday Night Football as the Chargers take on the Ravens. 5:15 kickoff there. It's nice to have Jon join his own show, because he's going to be missing tomorrow as well. Of course, the Aztecs NIL tournament, not the Aztecs NIL tournament, but the NIL tournament in Las Vegas. The Aztecs will be playing in against Creighton tomorrow in their opener at 11 a.m. Jon, are you in Vegas right now? That was quick.
No, I'm not. You may hear that I'm in Terminal 1 or whatever terminal is being redone. You know, the circular terminal in San Diego?
Oh, yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah, I'm in the terminal with about a couple dozen Aztec fans.
Oh, nice. There you go. What time's your flight leave?
1 hour.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You didn't
So
fly.
it's the perfect timing. Through security, waiting for the flight.
You didn't fly with San Diego State?
No, they left mid-morning, but I had to do some stuff with Don Lewis and football. And then I came in to see you in the studio as well, briefly. But I didn't want to do the show.
No, yeah. Why do the show? No, doing the show is stupid. That's dumb.
Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas. So tomorrow, 11 a.m., San Diego State takes on Creighton. Brings back some good memories, obviously, with the Elite Eight game a couple years ago. But these two teams are completely different, even though there's some familiar faces on Creighton. Do you view this game as tomorrow like a really tough matchup with Kalkbrenner and the size that Creighton has against San Diego State?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I didn't see where they were in the AP poll today. They were 14th last week.
21st.
They lost to Nebraska. They're 21st. Okay, yeah, they lost to Nebraska at home, which I think was a little bit of a surprising result. Plus, they lost their point guards, who San Diego State's seen a lot. Stephen Ashworth, who played at Utah State, is a really good player. But they've got tons of talent, Creighton does, including, I think, a Las Vegas native. Remember we were in the Uber driver with Papa Isaac's father?
Yes.
Papa Isaac. Creighton. Yeah. He's on Creighton. He's a really good scorer. And a really good player. And I think he'll probably get a little more featured in the offense. And Kalkbrenner 7-4. And they saw him twice in the NCAA tournament. He was a freshman when they came back and stunned San Diego State like 4 years ago. And then, like you said, 2 years ago, I guess it was 3 years ago, that first round exit. And then 2 years ago, they beat Kalkbrenner in the Elite Eight during his sophomore year. They didn't play last year. And now, again, they're meeting for the third time in 4 years on a neutral floor, and Kalkbrenner's still there. And he's one of the nation's best players. I mean, he might not be Zach Edey at Purdue, but he's capable of doing stuff that Edey did a year ago. So it's a real test. I think it'll be a good game. I think losing Ashworth for Creighton absolutely hurts. And San Diego State kind of has that home court edge in Las Vegas. I haven't seen a point spread yet. My guess is it's going to be a 1-2 3-point type situation towards Creighton would be my guess. So it should be a good game. We'll see if San Diego State can get it.
And it's going to be nice to see a almost fully healthy Aztec team with the loss of, I know, Reese Waters, but we already knew that. But a week of practice from Miles Bird. Hopefully that week of practice, gets him back into the rhythm here because they're going to need him badly.
I think it's huge. I do. I don't know what he's looked like this week in practice, but the fact that he played the other week, a week ago, actually 8 days ago now against Gonzaga, my guess is he's close to fully healthy. And, you got actually a lot of Las Vegas natives on this team, and I think that actually helps and matters. Miles Bird's family lives in Las Vegas now. Obviously, Phil Compton ties to Gorville are out of Las Vegas. But I'm sure Miles wants to make a good impression because he just wasn't healthy against Gonzaga. And we didn't see what he looks like when he is fully healthy. So hopefully he's closer to healthy. And I mean, they've had the time. I mean, assuming health, they've had the time to get ready for Creighton, and hopefully that time benefits them. But you're right. I think with a healthy Miles Bird, they can look a lot different. So hopefully that's what we see tomorrow.
So what would be, in your mind, in your opinion, like a really good tournament here? Obviously, winning the tournament would be amazing, but what's like the most realistic outcome that you hope they could get?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 wins is definitely realistic. I don't think it's easy, but when I look at Creighton and the injury that they're dealing with their starting point guard, and I look at Oregon, and Oregon has been susceptible. They're a very good team, but they were taken to overtime at home, I think, by Portland out of the WCC. So San Diego State's capable, I think, of beating both Creighton and/or Oregon. It doesn't mean they will, but they're fully capable. Those will be very small point spreads in those 2 games. Then we'll see about Saturday, because it could be anything from Notre Dame, the Rutgers, which is a little different, as opposed to Alabama or Houston, because Alabama or Houston are 2 of the best teams in America. But I think you get 2, it's a really good week. I think you can make the argument that even 1, and there's value in it. But yeah, you got to get 1, and I think 2 would be really good.
So we were talking about San Diego State football and like going into next year, because the final game is this Saturday against Air Force. For you, what's that one thing that you're holding on to? Be like, all right, that's a good thing going into the offseason, and that's like a starting point for next year's team to hopefully, hit the ground running and start on a better foot than they did this year.
Danny O'Neal. I mean, for me, it's Danny. I think that, the offensive line obviously hasn't been fully healthy, and they've had issues up front, whether it's penalties or health, for a better part of the season. And I think if Danny takes an exponential jump, which I think is possible, with a revamped and hopefully healthier offensive line, plus just the normal off season, quarterback play means a lot in college football. And I think considering they started a true freshman for basically the whole season, he missed a game because of injury. I don't think you can really expect more out of his individual performance. I think he has played well at times, and there's other times he's looked like a true freshman. But I think, you can't teach experience, and he's going to have it coming off this season, and hopefully he's better off for the adversity. But I mean, clearly Sean Lewis believes a lot in Danny O'Neal, and clearly Danny believes a lot in Sean Lewis. So I think it starts there. I think you just try to get Danny fully healthy. He's been dealing with a knee, and you try to have him make the progress, or have that progression that hopefully you see from 1 year over the next. And we see it in all sports. And look at BJ Davis from year 1 to year 2. If Danny O'Neal can take a step between year 1 and year 2, I know it's different sport. I think you hopefully are working with something good. So I think it starts with Danny O'Neal, and hopefully retaining some players around him as well. But for me, it starts with Danny O'Neal. Yeah, no,
I agree. That's a very well said. And I think a lot of Aztecs fans will say, all right, you got a quarterback. That was something that has always been, a question mark here. You hope Danny stays. I don't think there's too much worry there, but still, it's college football, transfer portal, like anything can happen. But having a quarterback 1 year in the system to build on that, yeah, I agree with that. I think you can use that as something to bite your teeth in and be excited about in the offseason going into next year. So is Kristen and Jones going to Vegas for Thanksgiving, or what's going on? Okay.
They are going to Vegas for Thanksgiving. I got Jones here right now.
Oh, hi,
I got
Jones.
Kristen right next to me. You want to say hi, Jones? You can say hi. I'm on the radio. So Jones and Kristen are coming out for Thanksgiving. They're going to go to the game tomorrow. And we're going to do some fun things, right, Jones? Yeah.
He's like, yes, I don't want to talk on the radio. What does a fake vegan have for Thanksgiving?
We're going to go out for Thanksgiving actually in San Diego, because we'll be back Wednesday night. So we're going to go out actually on Coronado.
Tofurkey.
Yeah. Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, we've had that before, but yeah, we're going to go out
Shocker.
on Thanksgiving.
Tofurkey.
Because it's not that fun to be a vegan on Thanksgiving.
No.
Like it's not that fun to be a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly, because the turkeys are dead and vegans don't eat turkeys.
Good point.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, have a safe flight, and hopefully you can get some wins in Vegas. I know it's all up to you, and we'll be blaming you if they lose and congratulating you if they win.
Let me know if the Padres sign Roki Sasaki.
If they sign Roki Sasaki, you have to come back on. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
And we have to do a wrap-up show. And yeah, so there we go. All right, cool. Later, buddy.
Later, guys.
Not gonna happen. If Roki Sasaki signs, I will be 100% shocked. We will talk about Roki Sasaki later in the show. There are not reports, but there's things that are being said that, again, you have to kind of take lightly because it's not being reported by Jeff Passan or Dennis Lin or Kevin Acee, but it's still interesting to see some things and continue to try to put the pieces all together there. All right, coming up next, is that good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. We also have the wrap coming up at 4 p.m. Monday Night Football tonight, Chargers and Ravens. We're going to be carrying that game, so shorter show, even though it's back to a pretty much normal show that we used to have with added 15 minutes. So we're going until 5:15 today. Also, let me just pull this up right here. Let me make sure. No giveaways today, Brent. I don't see any giveaways in the rundown, so I'm assuming we don't have any giveaways, but Brent will check on that. We'll tell you about that coming up next. But is that good? The best and worst of the sports weekend coming up next day right here on Jon and Jim.
It's time for the 2-minute drill with Jim Russell, brought to you by Hamuul Casino.
Is any team in the NFL having a worse season than the New York Giants? The Jets may want to have a talk, but first it was Daniel Jones being released on Friday last week. Then it's Saquon Barkley setting an Eagles franchise record and a top 10 performance in NFL history last night with over 250 yards rushing, and over 300 yards from scrimmage. Here was Saquon after the game talking about his, quote, fresh start.
You told me earlier that you're having the most fun now and that you're letting yourself celebrate. We saw you blow a kiss to the crowd. How much fun is all of this?
I got a fresh start. I'm around a great group of guys. The whole organization is amazing from top to bottom, and welcome me in with open arms. So I'm having fun. I'm ready to go out there and continue to play at a high level and get ready for next week.
We all know over the offseason the video of Giants owner John Mara saying he would lose sleep if he saw Saquon in an Eagles jersey. Well, I don't think he slept at all this season. Saquon's season is shaping up to have him in the discussion for MVP. Like Christian McCaffrey last year with the 49ers, he's completely changed the Eagles, made the Giants look even dumber and dumber by the day. Maybe NFL teams will start to value running backs a little more in the future. Probably not, but some running backs that change teams this offseason are sure proving their former teams very wrong.
Hamuul Casino. 7 restaurants, thrilling games, and a sports pub voted San Diego's best. Hamuul Casino is fun above all else.
All right, hit us up on the Talkback mic. Just open the free iHeart Radio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button. Leave a 30-second talkback. If you want to send in a talkback about San Diego State football, the upcoming NIL tournament with the Aztecs tomorrow, their opener against Creighton, the Padres off season, which has been ice cold so far. Nothing much happening there. Just hit us up on the Talkback mic, and we'll play those later in the show. All right, Brent, got the wrap coming up next hour. But right now, let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder, from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
So, did you know Saquon Barkley's on the Philadelphia Eagles this year, Brent?
Yeah, I heard that.
I mean, wow. It's so funny watching the Eagles game with Aaron because when I watch a 49ers game, I'm like, they suck. And she's like, they could still do well. And then when we're watching the Eagles game with Aaron, she's like, they suck. I'm like, they're 9-2. She's like, no, they're not winning the Super Bowl this year. It's so funny seeing her with the Eagles be like me watching the 49ers. But Saquon Barkley rushed for 255 yards against the Rams last night, had over 300 yards from scrimmage last night as well. Brent, is that good?
It is good!
A top 10 performance in NFL history last night against the Rams. If Saquon stays healthy, he could possibly get to around 2,000 yards rushing. Going to take a pretty big effort here. But he's already on his way to potentially being the offensive player of the year. The MVP discussion, I don't think he's going to win it, but he should be in the MVP discussion. He's just having a phenomenal year. And the Giants continue to look stupid and awful, and their GM needs to be fired the second the season's over. It's just, it makes that video, Brent. You know the video I'm talking about with their GM and John Mara sitting there talking about Saquon, and he's like, you know, if Saquon goes to the Eagles, I'm not going to get much sleep this year. And their GM sitting there kind of laughing, and he's on the Eagles now, and he's whooping everyone's ass. So Saquon's good. The Eagles are very good. And what he's doing for them is good. Alabama, you know, they're probably going to end up somehow making the college football playoff because they're freaking Alabama, but they really shouldn't. I mean, they got their ass kicked by Oklahoma over the weekend, 24-3. Is that good?
No,
it's not good. For them,
Are you
it's
kidding
not
me?
good. And they're 8-3 now. Where are they at in the SEC? I mean, the things with the college football playoffs is in the SEC right now, You have Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and South Carolina all ahead in the conference over Alabama. Yet Alabama's ranked 13th. I know they have some really good wins under their belt, but still, if they make the college football playoff, Brent, something's fishy. I hope they don't now, but they're probably going to end up making it. You know, who do they end their season with? They end their season with Auburn, obviously, and I mean Auburn's 5-6, so that win's not going to do much. They're at home. Interesting. My 49ers suck, and their loss to the Packers yesterday, they had 19 missed tackles in the loss. Is that good?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
Where Jim was right. I mean, this team is a disaster. Their quarterback is hurt. Their running back doesn't look fully healthy. One of their number one wide receivers tore his ACL. Their other top wide receiver, like, just couldn't give a crap out there. I mean, he looks awful. He needs to be cut at the end of the season.
Don't tell that to Packer fans. They're acting like you guys had your full roster and Joe Montana.
Well, yeah, the Niners didn't, but they still had. I mean, the Niners had a moment in that game yesterday where they could have made things interesting, and then of course they get a penalty on a big kickoff return, and then that was that. And they spotted the Packers 13 straight points to start the game. 19 missed tackles in the loss. They looked completely uninterested in that game. The third worst blowout in the Shanahan era in regular season play. It's not good.
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
It's not good at all. And I said, 3-4 weeks ago, when I just kind of lost it on him, and everyone, you guys were laughing at me. Kyle Shanahan is Andy Reid 2.0. I said it. He's Andy Reid 2.0. He will have a ton of success with the 49ers, but he'll never win a Super Bowl. He is as arrogant as they come. He thinks he knows more than everybody around him. He is stubborn when it comes to making changes. And yes, this is my 49ers rant of the day. So let me just have this. His special teams is awful. He hired an inexperienced defensive coordinator. And Kyle Shanahan is completely arrogant when he hires Brandon Staley to be a part of his coaching staff. Like, I can make Brandon Staley. I can take Brandon Staley and I can have him be a good head coach for or good assistant for us. No, actually, he sucks. And he's always sucked. Besides that 1 year with the Rams, that was it. But, Sean McVay is a better head coach than you, Kyle. So, yeah, it's just the unfortunate thing is they missed their window. Their window is done. It's kaput. They had opportunities and they missed it. And they ran up against the best quarterback of this generation, of this era, taking the reins from Brady. Once Brady left, boom, Mahomes, he's now the best. And they ran into Mahomes twice and they lost twice. They've had some unfortunate NFC title game losses. But all in all, this is now becoming an older team that it's hard to fully get up and be as motivated as, say, I don't know, like the Detroit Lions are when you've gone through so much heartbreak like the 49ers have gone through. You can't lose a Super Bowl like you lost last year and expect to turn around, boom, right away and be right back in the Super Bowl and win the thing. Not going to happen. It is a loss that will take, I think, years to recover from. And so now everybody can get their wish, and now the 49ers are back to being an average, mediocre football team. Because you have an arrogant head coach that thinks he knows more than everybody, and it's going to be Andy Reid 2.0. And when the Niners eventually do fire him because of the the pressure from the fan base, and because he can't win anymore, the next place he goes, he's going to win multiple Super Bowls. Calling it right now. And he'll be hired 10 seconds after he's fired by the 49ers. Niners are not going to fire him this year. That'd be stupid. But eventually, Kyle Shanahan, when he is done coaching the 49ers, because he will not win a Super Bowl there, the next place he goes, he's going to win multiple. That's just how it's going to work. That's just how it's going to work. All right, coming up next, the latest with Roki Sasaki. We'll tell you all of that. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. San Diego State football, final game of their season will be this Saturday against Air Force, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And tomorrow, the Aztecs will be in the NIL tournament in Las Vegas. Their opener will be at 11 a.m. against number 21 Creighton. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this update's been brought to you by Progressive.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
This is interesting. So predictions, right? Predictions on where players are going to go in free agency. I don't take much stock in it, but it's a 4-hour show. Got to talk about something. So we're going to talk about predictions for free agents.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 2 on the new 4-hour Jon and Jim, even though today it's 3 hours and like 13 minutes because we have Monday Night Football, Ravens at the Chargers. So you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760.
And this is like when you get used to a new sleeping schedule, and then it's like, oh yeah, now go back to your old sleeping schedule. It's like, I just got used to the new one.
Right. I just got
used to 4, and now it's like back to 3.
Yeah. I tell you, when Jon gets back, I feel like he's going to be in for one of those like rude awakenings of 4 hours because his body's like not you. He like did it for a week, and then he's gone for a week. And then he comes back and it's going to be like, his body's not going to be prepared for it.
It's going to be one of those things like when you go on vacation and then you've been gone for a week and then you come back and it's like you've been sitting there for 10 minutes and you're like, God, it hasn't been 6 hours already.
It's like, why do I have 4 hours left? The show just started. So going up till 5:15 tonight for Monday Night Football. Roki Sasaki. The latest with Roki Sasaki is this. That's it. that's the latest with Roki Sasaki. Now, I had a not a rant, but a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week actually, where somebody on social media, and I know you love this, Brent. Someone on social media put out there during the Sunday Night Football game between the Lions and the Houston Texans that this was like the 6th time that Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions and his team's 0-6 in those times. And, let's see if the Lions can turn around and win the game. And then the next morning on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers is on and surprise, he says, did you see the stat on social media the other day, or do you see the stat where Jared Goff is winless when he throws 5 or more interceptions? It just shows that people don't know what they're talking about, and you gotta let the game play out. Blah 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 blah. And then this kid posts that clip of Aaron Rodgers and says, "Yeah, I made up this stat in my bedroom," and Aaron thought it was like a real stat. So the moral of the story is, now with the way that Twitter is, with, constant misinformation out there because Elon decided to give everybody a blue check and you don't know what's real and what's fake. And you have to really like triple, quadruple check to make sure what you're reading is actually from a legit source instead of somebody pretending to be that person. Goes into a lot of off-season rumors during the hot stove, during free agency, and it's damn near impossible to keep up with things that are actually legit when you have a site that is filled with so much information that it is right now. And it leads us to Roki Sasaki. Now, there's this account, and they've gotten some things right, but they've got a lot of things wrong. And this person is Joseph Kim. Now, it's just a whatever. I mean, I don't put, by the way, this is me putting zero stock into this guy or whoever runs this account, but when you see things like him say, Sasaki is interested in San Diego, heard from him directly. Okay. I mean, if I went on Twitter right now, Brent, and I said that exact same thing, it would be like, what, Jim? What, are you? It would probably make actual reporters have to double check some sources and be like, is he really interested? And then they'll be like, no, we have no idea what Jim's saying. That's how ridiculous now social media is when it comes to rumors, when it's from people that aren't Jeff Passan or Dennis Lin or Kevin Acee or people that are actually like credible. So I just look at this and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's somebody that I have no idea who it is, but they've gotten some things right on social media, in particular with Korean players and international players. But at the same time, just be careful, because the hot stove, hopefully, knock on wood, for the Padres will heat up here after Thanksgiving. And I hope I see something like that from a Jeff Passan of the world or a Dennis Lin of the world. Dennis has not really said much lately about, Padres in the offseason. He wrote a piece recently about Jackson Merrill. We still don't really know how much they're going to spend this offseason. We don't know what their budget's going to look like. We'll never know what their budget's going to look like. It's all going to be numbers like around this, around that, around this. And we'll never know. Are they going to spend more this offseason, or are they going to try to limit their spending and not go over that CBT? So seeing things like this and actually it getting some play on social media. Is Roki Sasaki interested in the Padres? I don't know. This person doesn't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. It's almost like we just have to wait. And that's the hardest part, is just sitting there like, just, hey, what happened with Roki Sasaki today? Anything? Nope. Okay, move on. I want stuff every single day. I want a little nugget here and there. I want that to be true. I want it to be a report, a legitimate report of Roki Sasaki's meeting with the Padres, but he's not been posted yet, so he can't do that. What are you laughing about?
I'm just laughing at pretty much what you're saying about how now it's like, oh, Sasaki is interested in the Reds, says Bill at 7-Eleven.
That's literally what it is.
Then we're gonna run with it. Who told Bill that? Oh, Bill knows people.
Seriously, that is how
good enough for me.
That is how Twitter is now. And I knew this was going to happen the second that site decided to take away the legitimate checks from people and give the people the opportunity to buy them, because Elon decided to spend $400 billion on his website and is like, oh crap, I need to make money on this thing. And now he's losing billions of dollars by the day because of it. And you have created kind of an S show with stuff like this. Because if I look at this guy's tweet, or girl, I don't know. It's got 20,000 views. Okay. But you see people in the comment section, this is music to my ears. Hope you're right. Wow, that's awesome. Like people saying like, oh, I can't believe this. But then also people saying, give me your source, give me your source, give me your source. Please don't lie to us. Give me your source. Hope you're right.
Maybe you're reading in the wrong context. Maybe they were like, I can't believe this.
I can't believe
this.
I
can't believe this. This is not true.
And so that's where I sit there and say, be careful out there.
Well, you never know too, because even before they took the check marks away, remember who's they do this like, oh, Max Scherzer, he's definitely going to the Padres, and then it's like, no, he's not.
Well, that's a to me understandable, because Ken Rosenthal is a credible reporter. Now he has awful columns talking about Manny Machado's sinister sling, and he has a vendetta against the Padres, and he is not welcome here at Petco Park for the foreseeable future. But he is still somebody in the know. He is still somebody that reports on things. And that whole situation I understood why everybody believed him, because why wouldn't you believe him? This guy or Joe from 7-Eleven, people take that and they believe it, and then they tell their friends, dude, I heard Sasaki's interested in the Padres. And then that starts a mushroom cloud of complete misinformation out there. And people are like, where'd you get that from? I have, quote, sources. Trust me, bro. I got sources. Trust me. Instead of saying, yeah, I read in a Jeff Passan article or I read in a Dennis Lin article. So it's a lot of clickbaity, AI, just BS out there right now. And I see stuff like this and I'm like, I want it to be true, but by no means am I going to sit here and act like it's true. There's some people, actually, there's a lot of people that I know who would take this and actually say, yes, Roki Sasaki is interested in the Padres and then run with it. No, I'm saying I saw this, see so many different things, and sitting here and telling you probably shouldn't believe that. Because if you do, you're just setting yourself up to be duped. And that's how Twitter has now, that's what it's become. You are going to get duped more than you read actual legitimate stuff from legitimate sources. And that's a shame. It's a shame. You know, I see in the chat on YouTube that this guy's a legitimate reporter. Okay, well, to me, I don't consider him that. I don't. If you're a legitimate reporter, you wouldn't like get a lot of things wrong. You wouldn't put a bunch of things out there to get likes. Like, oh, I heard Ha-Seong Kim is interested in X. I've heard Roki Sasaki is interested in this.
Well, you know, some people, and you know, you see this a lot with news too, is people are more concerned about being first opposed to being right.
Mm-hmm.
To where, you know, oh, well, you know, Joe told me that Sasaki's going to this place, so I'm just going to say it. And if it's wrong, oh, well, no one's going to, you know, I'm not going to get in trouble anyways if it's wrong. But if it's right, then I can say I was the first one to say it.
Yeah, I could say things like right now, Padres are going to sign Roki Sasaki. And they could end up signing Roki Sasaki. And I could be like, see, I told you I was right. But in the first place, it was, that's a complete just guess. or I heard from somebody that heard from somebody that heard from somebody type of thing. So just be careful. Is Roki Sasaki interested in the Padres? I don't freaking know. I hope he is. I hope the Padres make a legitimate run at Roki Sasaki and they have just as good a chance to sign him as anybody else and hopefully better. The Dodgers stuff, that's concerning, obviously, but as of right now, nobody knows. You don't know. I don't know. Brent doesn't know. I don't think Jeff Passan knows. I don't think Dennis Lin knows. The only person that knows anything about where they may be leaning before they're posted is Roki Sasaki and obviously his agent, who has denied this handshake deal with the Dodgers. So we'll see. I don't know. And you don't know. Hopefully we do know very soon. All right, coming up next, NFL whip around or NFL roundtable or whatever you want to say, NFL roundup. We'll talk about this past weekend in the NFL coming up next. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim here for Hamuul Casino. Get to Hamuul Casino now to play Monday Night Live. One lucky winner each week will also be driving home a brand new Mercedes-Benz C-Class every Monday in November. That's tonight, guys. You can earn entries all month long by just playing, and on Tuesdays, you can earn 2-time entries. Not only do they have an opportunity to win a Mercedes-Benz C-Class with their Monday Night Live, also, they have great food options. They have a great bar. They have Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, which is the best place to be to watch a sporting event, NFL, NBA, NHL games. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, it's the place to be. And with Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday, you can celebrate Thanksgiving all month long at Burgers and Shakes with their Turkey Day Melt, or you can indulge in the Thanksgiving calzone at their pizzeria. Then Thursday, November 28th, you can join them at Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining for football and all your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Get to Hamuul Casino Day. It's fun above all else. San Sports 760 is celebrating the season with the holiday iHeartRadio special One Night City in the Holiday Spirit. Exclusive performances from Jay, Jennifer Hudson, Jim Fallon, and Kelly Clarkson. Mario Lopez. Listen to the show Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Holiday Seasons Radio on our free iHeart app. So Chris Hawks is going to join us at 4:30. We'll have a show on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. And Chris is going to join us today at 4:30. Get you ready for the week. Also, tomorrow we'll be on after the Aztecs game. Now, I know the Aztec game starts at 11 a.m. I don't know if it's going to impact our show at all. But we'll be on whenever the game's over, whenever post game is over with John from Vegas. And then Wednesday, we do not have the show. because San Diego State plays at 1 p.m. They'll be done probably around 4-ish or so. Post-game, tomorrow will be our last show of the week. Yeah. Yeah, so today and tomorrow, and then we're back to our regular schedule program next Monday. John, theoretically be here, right? He has to come back to football. That is right, yeah. Saturday's going to be crazy. So Saturday, we don't know when San Diego State is going to play their final game of the NIL tournament in Las Vegas. So that makes it a little interesting for us behind the scenes here to get things ready for Saturday because San Diego State football is on at 7:30. I know there's times are out for Saturday.
There's 4 different options. They're either going to play at 10 a.m. again, 1 a.m. No, but 10 a.m. and like around 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and then like 6:30 if they would make the championship game.
So hopefully everything works out and we don't run into any problems. And that's the famous last words of radio because there's always something that is an issue. So we talked a little bit about this last week, and Major League Baseball in the future is going to have to figure out what the hell they're going to be doing with their TV rights. You have like the Yankees have the Yes Network, the Mets, SNY, Dodgers have their own.
Cubs have their own.
But for a majority of your sport, they're kind of like in no man's land here. Padres included. Padres are run by Major League Baseball, and they are not getting the same revenue, not even close to what they were getting when they had an agreement and a deal with Diamond Sports Group, and before that, Fox Sports. I don't know the future, but there's a report that MLB plans to create a national package for major streaming companies to bid on come 2028. That's a long time from now. It says the year that the league's national television deals with ESPN, Fox, and Turner are set to expire. The commissioner needs as many of its team's local media rights available as possible by then, and all 6 clubs returning to Diamond Sports Group are on deals that were designed around that goal. So, quote, most importantly, from my perspective, is that all deals from the Diamond clubs ends no later than 2028, said Rob Manfred to The Athletic. My interest in local rights in large part is to have them available when we do national renewals. That has been I'm sure Dave's going to call here in a minute. That has been the biggest question mark / problem here going forward with the Padres that isn't talked about a lot is their TV deal. And if their TV deal is going to be continued to run through Major League Baseball where they're not making the money that they were making while they were under Diamond, then I don't know how they can continue to spend a high clip. Not the clip that they spend in 2023, but still spend enough to keep you competitive year in and year out. I would love if Major League Baseball, entered the 21st century and actually made it so they are a part of like YouTube TV or a streaming platform that everybody has access to, and that the revenue split between teams is a big chunk. And, ESPN actually takes baseball seriously, even though I don't know if that's going to happen. Fox takes baseball seriously, and they don't put their playoff games on FS1 and they put them on Fox. Like, when is baseball going to say we need to find a platform that puts us first? Hard to do that because the biggest platforms, ESPN and so forth, Fox, they're never going to do that now with football and college football. It's just not going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what baseball does coming up here in the future. to create, a national package for major streaming for baseball. What's that going to look like? Do you have faith in Rob Manfred to put that deal together to benefit all teams that aren't the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Cubs? Do you have faith in Rob Manfred? Me personally, not really. I really don't. I think Rob Manfred's horrible at his job, and he's done the only thing that I could say Rob Manfred has done to better the sport is the pitch clock. It's a big thing, but that's it. And under his watch, you have now next year the A's playing in Sacramento, and because it's taken so long for the Rays stadium issue to be resolved, unfortunately, that stadium was not equipped for a natural disaster, and now the Rays have to play in the Yankees spring training facility next season,
which is probably nicer than their actual facility, to be honest.
Probably. You're probably right about that.
I kind of hope that MLB just takes the whole thing over, because the best thing about them taking over for a handful of these clubs that were part of the defunct, Bally's, is that it got rid of blackout restrictions for those clubs.
I like that, but it's not making the team money.
But I'm not talking about making the team money. I'm just talking from a viewer standpoint and from a fan standpoint, to where one of the most frustrating things was, hey, look, I got free MLB Network, but I can't watch the team that is 6 blocks away from my house. Now, through being able to, purchase the Padres a la carte through MLB Network, I actually got to watch the majority of the games, legally without having to go through BitTorrent sites and everything else. And it was nice. And if MLB takes over, then they can just lift all those stupid blackout restrictions. Because back in the day, the blackout restrictions thing, it made sense because they wanted people to actually go to the game. So that was their way of kind of saying, oh, no, we're not going to put the game on TV if you're not going to go watch it live. But just with how big streaming is and just TV in general and everything, they don't have to do that anymore. Just get rid of it.
Don't get me wrong. From a consumer, I'm all for MLB owning these rights, because you're right, it does make it easier to access these games. All you got to do is just download the MLB app and you just pay a fee and you get every game from your tablet, from your phone, at your house, on your smart TV. Like, it's very easy to access it, but that's not helping the teams out because they're not making money off it. And that's where the biggest problem is. I'm never going to sit here and say, oh, poor owners, they're not making money. But they need to make money, because if they don't make money, they're not going to spend on the on-field product. And they're going to become even more fickle and even more fickle and even more fickle. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, coming up next, we'll recap this past weekend in the NFL. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State basketball. There's the NIL tournament tomorrow. Their opening game will be at 11 a.m. against number 21 Creighton. San Diego State football, their final game of their season. I said they lost 4 straight. They've actually lost 5 straight. My bad. Their final game of the year will be against Air Force this Saturday night, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. All right, back here on Jon and Jim, going until 5:15 tonight. Monday Night Football, Chargers and Ravens on San Diego Sports 760.
Hard Bowl is back.
Hard Bowl. This is a very interesting game. I can't deny that they are much more disciplined football team than Harbaugh as a head coach, especially the fact where Jim goes, that team wins. It's almost like he actually knows what he's doing compared to their previous coach. The guy that the Niners hired because the Kyle Shanahan thought that he would bring something to the table that guy. Okay, yeah. I want to fire Kyle Shanahan off this Sun so bad, but I know it's a stupid thing because the second he leaves, like I said, he will be Super Bowl with whatever team he goes to.
And then that guy will probably be your new head coach.
Probably. But what I was saying is tonight is an interesting game because it's not the same old Chargers, unfortunately. I wish it was, but it's not. And they're a much more disciplined football team. You have the Ravens with the front runner for the MVP, in my opinion, and Lamar Jackson. You can make the case, I think, for Josh Allen to be MVP if you wanted. Lamar Jackson has had a fantastic year. I think if the Bills do end up finishing with the number 1 overall seed, which is still there for the taking because they beat the Chiefs, all they need to do is have the same record as them, then I would put Josh Allen at the top of my MVP leaderboard. Lamar is up there as well. Saquon for me is up there as well. But it's a matchup tonight where the Chargers are going up against one of the best QBs in the league. And can they do it again? Last week, against one of the best QBs in the league, they ended up winning that game, but the defense gave up a lot of yards and a lot of points. And in that second half, Joe Burrow could do whatever he wanted on offense. So it will be a test tonight of 2 really disciplined, good football teams. And the Chargers trying to make their stamp and saying, we are good. Look at us. Yes, we may have played a soft schedule, but we are a good football team. Look who we just beat if they beat the Ravens tonight. Ravens are, still fighting for the AFC North. 7-4. They don't want to fall to 7-5. Looking at the standings here, I know Pittsburgh just lost to Jameis Winston, but this is a big game for Baltimore as well because with the Steelers, almost at the Pirates, with the Steelers 8-3, you get to 8-4, you keep pace. I know Pittsburgh still has the tiebreaker over you because they beat you last week. It's just a good football game tonight. Very, very good football game tonight. So 5:15 is kickoff there. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. What you got, Brent?
Another funny coincidence that goes along with like the whole family dynamic going on with the brothers. Tonight's game happens to land on their parents' 63rd wedding anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So they'll probably be there. And I tell you, if I had kids and they both were like coaching or playing and they played against each other on different teams, that'd be impossible for me to root for.
Do you think their mom's going to wear one of those split jerseys?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, when they face off in the Super Bowl, that is infinitely more worse than Monday Night Football in week 12 or 11 or whatever it is.
They're going to wear split khakis.
Yeah, and just root for the offenses to put up a bunch of points. This past weekend in the NFL, just the witching hour on the Red Zone channel the other day was insane. insane. That Washington-Dallas game, I could argue that what the hell is Dallas thinking winning that game? Like, guys, your season is done. You're not going anywhere. You need to tank for a better draft pick. Winning that game does nothing for you. All it does is hurt you in the long run. And then the crazy finish there. And then you have, the Panthers and the Chiefs. And of course, you knew that the Chiefs were going to win that game against the Panthers. The Panthers gave them too much time. Everybody's afraid to hit Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. So whenever he runs on the sideline, all players, for some reason, just stop playing football. And then the Niners disaster. And then your Bears, Brent. They didn't like F it up. They didn't lose in heartbreaking fashion like they have, but at the same time, how that game ended, we're getting an onside kick, which I don't think we've seen this year one time in the NFL. Caleb looked good. You have to admit that. He looks good.
I like their new offensive coordinator a hell of a lot more than I like the previous offensive coordinator. Just the last 2 weeks has been like a day-night just with the play calling and everything. So I have a little more faith with this guy opposed to what we were doing before.
So you think that this guy will be like the guy going forward, or is it just like a placeholder?
Well, when they brought him in, and we did it on this show, everyone kind of laughed. It was like, they brought in the guy that ruined Bryce Young or whatever. It's like in Carolina, and now we're going to bring him in to do the same thing to Caleb Williams. And I don't know, maybe it's just Bryce Young, and it's not so much this coach.
Bryce Young looked good against the Chiefs. Now, it wasn't like a 400-yard, 4-touchdown performance.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, he's back.
It's like it was like 250 for like 2 touchdowns or something like that.
But he's starting to look better. He's a lot of the things that he was doing earlier in the year that were driving me insane, sitting in the pocket and just waiting for it to just engulf him, and just doing that thing when he just turns around with a quick spin and then he would just turn right into the defensive tackle and get nailed for like a 15-yard loss.
Like, stop trying to act like you're playing, UCLA. Like, you're not. You're playing like an NFL team with really good players on it.
And he's starting to hit his deep balls a little more. Earlier in the year, is like there could be, a guy wide open down the field and he'd overthrow him by 10 or 15 yards. So he's starting to get better. I'm still not on board with, all the hype that everyone had about, oh, he's the next Patrick Mahomes. He's the, biggest generation. They'll still pump the brakes on that. We'll wait and see what happens next year.
Yeah, because Bo Nix looks really good this year. Jaden Daniels looks really good this year.
Well,
Caleb has shown moments where he's looked really good this year.
And I think Eberflus is a lame duck. I think they'll get rid of him. If they don't get rid of Matt, if they don't get rid of Eberflus, they are idiotic. They have to fire that guy the second the season ends. And that's why, Niners fans are like, if you fire Kyle Shanahan, guys, guess what? He's going right to the Bears, or he's going somewhere and he's going to get a quarterback and he's going to win right away. Well, you would think so, but I don't, we're a dumpster fire ourselves as an organization, where I don't think they would do something that competent, because otherwise, we could have went out and got Jim Harbaugh ourselves to coach the team. He played for us, and
that was bad. They should have fired Eberflus.
But they didn't. They had no interest in him. And it's just like, okay, so we'll just take Eberflus.
So, yeah, Caleb Williams looked good. And then tonight you have Monday Night Football, Ravens and Chargers. All right, coming up next, Chris Hodge is going to join us at the bottom of next hour. But there's one team in baseball right now that has said, we're going to light the stove on fire when no one else is doing anything. We'll talk about their interesting moves coming up next.
So the hot stove is not officially hot yet, but there's always that one team out there that will start making moves before everybody else.
It's more of a hot plate.
Exactly. Yeah. And the moves that they make, you're sitting there being like, huh? Like, oh, we signed this guy to a $70 million deal. What did he do last year? He had a 4.8 ERA, huh? And if you were to like just guess, I don't know if you saw this, but if you were
No,
to
I didn't.
if you were to guess a team to start off the hot stove making moves that you're like, huh? I'll give you 5 guesses. Guess that team.
AL or NL?
I'll give you a hint. Yes, American League.
What division?
Well, if I give you 5 guesses.
Okay. Now, let's see. The one that would make the least amount of sense would be Oakland, a.k.a. Vegas,
Yeah, you can take those,
Sacramento.
Take that team out. Yeah, take that team out. But what team, like, has a little bit of money? They haven't been good in forever.
Oh, would it be the Twins?
Not the Twins. Twins have been good a little recently.
Why? Just because they had interest in Blake Snell
No.
out of nowhere, so I thought maybe the Twins.
No.
The Royals?
Royals were good last year.
Seattle?
No, but good guess. Right division.
Oh, right division. Okay. What would be the Rangers? Because they're good. Is it the Rangers?
They sucked last year, but they won a World Series 2 years ago. No, it's not the Rangers.
It's not the Rangers. Not Seattle.
They're
It's
actually,
not
actually
Oakland.
competent now. They're smart. They know what they're doing. There's
only like one team I'm forgetting. Who's left in that division that I'm...
The Los Angeles Angels of
Oh,
Anaheim.
yeah. Okay.
The team that
The Rally Monkeys.
spends a bunch of money.
Thunder Sticks.
It's like circa 2002.
I know, that just tells you how relevant they are. That, when I think of their organization, the first thing I think of is annoying inflatable Thunder Sticks.
First thing
and
I
the
think
Rally
about
Monkey
is the wasted
and
career.
Angels in the
of-
outfield.
Well, good movie. I think about the wasted career of Mike Trout, how Shohei Ohtani was there and they still didn't win.
I think of them paying way too much money for an over the hill Albert Pujols, thinking it was going to sell tickets.
Correct. Well, they made a move today for a starting pitcher, and this pitcher was, was for a brief hot second linked to the Padres last year during the trade deadline because they needed a starting pitcher. Now the Padres didn't get a starting pitcher at the trade deadline, but this name was out there, and he did get traded. Yusei Kikuchi. So he got traded last year to the Houston Astros, pitched very well for them, was 5-1 with a 2.7 ERA in 60 innings, but his overall ERA last year was 4.05. He's never had higher than a 1.8 WAR in his entire career. He can give you some innings, pitched 175 innings last year. Not the greatest season, but he did pitch really well for the Astros. So I'll give him that. The Angels signed him today to a 3-year, $63 million deal, which comes out to be $21 million a year. And I look at that and I go, well, that's the starting rate. There's always that one team that goes and gives a pitcher that's like not bad, but also not really great, kind of middle of the rotation guy. They always give him like oh, he got like 18 million a year. Like, this guy got 22 million a year, right? Kikuchi got 21 million a year. That is now kind of around the starting rate for a decent middle of the rotation pitcher. A number 3 guy, number 4 at worst. You're going to be paying probably 16 to 18 million for that. Kikuchi, he could pitch like a 2 or maybe 3 because he pitched really well for the Astros when he got traded there last year, but 21 million a year. So now you're sitting there, if you're the Padres, and saying, well, okay, we need starting pitching. Guess we're going to have to trade for it. That's that. You're not going out and getting a starting pitcher for anything less, like a legit starting pitcher for anything less than 21 million. And that, I don't think the Padres in the first place were going to get any top starting pitching. Like, you know, the predictions, right? That was in the open. Oh, he predicts Max Fried's going to the Padres. Dude's going to want and probably get $140 million contract. That ain't happening here in San Diego.
Maybe he'll defer it.
Yeah. We'll give you 140 million, but are you willing to defer 135 of that?
Max, have you ever heard of the lottery deferment program?
Yeah,
we're going to give you a check for $800 every week for the rest of your life.
We're going to start doing this from now on, and we were wondering if you want to join us. So the Angels are the first team out of the gate, out of the starting blocks, to make a big time signing. Unless I'm missing something, there hasn't been a big time trade yet. I know Jonathan India just got traded a couple days ago to the Royals, but not
big time.
Not big time. There hasn't been, some non-tenders here, some contracts like to make sure either non-tender a guy or not. But Yusei Kikuchi is the first name out of the starting blocks during the hot stove to sign a big time contract. 3 years, $63 million with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Good luck. You're going there to win 72 games. And $21 million
in your whole contract.
Yeah. Yeah. And
in 3 years, you're going to win 72 games.
And $21 million is now the starting rate for a middle of the rotation, pretty decent pitcher. I mean, I would have loved Yusei Kikuchi on the pod. You're not giving out a $63 million 3-year deal. Could be wrong. Always could be wrong. But $21 million a year? That's the starting rate? Okay. Good luck. Probably not going to do anything, or probably not going to sign anybody unless you trade for a starting pitcher. And we've always said from the beginning, that's the likeliest route to improve this rotation is to go out to the trade market and be savvy like AJ Preller has been the last year and go out and get value pieces that aren't making a lot of money, but can give you a lot of value on this team. And that's what he's going to have to do once again. All right, coming up next, Chris Hodge will join us at 4:30, Monday Night Football, 5:15. But we're going to head back and talk a little more about San Diego State football and the direction of this program into next year. Coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State football, their final game of their season will be this Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium against Air Force. 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego State basketball will start the NIL tournament tomorrow in Las Vegas with their opening game at 11 a.m. against number 21 Creighton. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. And a major upset in college basketball this afternoon, Brent, the Maui Invitational. Memphis has taken down number 2 UConn in overtime, 99-97. And this update's been brought to you by Taco Bell.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
This is interesting. So predictions, right? Predictions on where players are going to go in free agency. I don't take much stock in it, but it's a 4-hour show. Got to talk about something. So we're going to talk about predictions for free agents.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 3 on Jon and Jim on a Monday. Short week for us because Thanksgiving is Thursday. It's already freaking Thanksgiving. It's wild. Aztecs playing the NIL tournament starting tomorrow. Games in the morning, then Wednesday games in the afternoon. So no Jon and Jim show. Jon will be back with me and Brent next Monday. So short week here on San Diego Sports 760. Short week for Jon and Jim. And then, of course, the Aztecs football team will have their final home game, final regular season game too, this Saturday against Air Force, trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. And it's been a rough season. It's definitely been a rough season, no doubt about it. I mean, we all kind of thought this season would be kind of bumpy with a new head coach, new coaching staff, an entirely new roster, a true freshman quarterback. But at the same time, I don't think I can sit here and just continue to give it a pass and say, it's fine. Another 20-point loss. That's fine. Another game where they have 10 plus penalties. That's fine. Another game where, they have a lead and then they, lose a lead and you lose to a backup quarterback and you lose up to a backup running back. And I mean, some of these games it's 41-13 and then they get a garbage time touchdown and boom, that's 41-20. And not saying that makes it look any better. Just a couple garbage time touchdowns here and there gets their points total for the year up and might help their point averages a little, but all in all, the product on the field is not much different than last year's team. Some aspects of it are different for sure, like the offense that the team runs, and of course the defensive scheme that they run. Those are brand new. But the final results have by and large been the same as last year. This year's team is averaging 21 points. Last year's team averaged just under 21 points. This year's team's throwing for 200 yards a game. Last year's team threw for 175 a game. I was hoping to see a little more. I was not expecting them to go 10-1. I was not even expecting them to truthfully make a bowl game. I thought if they made a bowl game, that would have been a huge, massive jump and a huge feather in the cap for this program and Sean Lewis in year one here at San Diego State. But they ain't even close to that. They aren't even close. I haven't seen the line for Saturday, Brent. But right now, Air Force is favored in that game by 3.5 points.
Oh, I saw 2.5 earlier, so it moved.
And you lose on Saturday to Air Force at home. Who did Air Force didn't complete one single pass in their game against Nevada this past weekend. They, Brent, rushed for 319 yards and they threw for 0. I am not kidding.
Well, that's because that's what Air Force does. That's what they always do. But then last year when we played Air Force, they came out and they threw the ball all over the field and didn't run at all.
So this final home game of the year, final regular season game of the year, show something. I think, because you've left a bad taste in the mouth of Aztecs fans after year one. You just have. Aztecs fans, majority of them, and majority of fans in general, are not going to take the patient route. They're just not. Being patient as a fan, that's like taboo. I mean, name me a team, and I'll tell you that their fans will have something to be upset about. No fan base in any sport is like, you know what? That's cool. We'll wait a year. Maybe we'll wait even 2 years. We'll be fine. That's just not how sports work. And with what this Aztec team has done this year, they've done some nice things. I know John said earlier, and I agree with him. Danny O'Neill, something to take from this season into the offseason and going into next year that you can be excited about or happy about or something to look forward to. Yeah, Danny O'Neill. Okay, cool. I'll give you that. Absolutely. As a true freshman quarterback, has he made mistakes? Yup. Has he done some nice things? Yup. Has it been a great season for Danny O'Neill? No. But it's not been a bad season. It's kind of like in the middle, like trending a little bit upwards, I would say. But all in all, the overall performance from this football team this year has, in my opinion, not been that inspiring. Going forward for a new coach and a program that for the last decade, besides last year, was in a bowl game every year. In contention for Mountain West titles. Didn't think that this team was going to be in contention this year. So I'm not upset about that. I can't believe they didn't win the Mountain West Conference, Brent. Can't believe they didn't beat Boise State. I can't believe they couldn't get past UNLV. No, those are two really good programs. Two programs, that have been building. And UNLV, you saw last year where they broke out, and then this year where they continue the success. And then Boise State, Ashton Genty, Heisman finalist, potentially. Hell, he could win the Heisman. Probably not, but he's going to be there in New York. So you're not at that level. And I would never expected them to be at that level. I never sat down and said, man, if they don't beat Boise State, I'm going to be pissed. Man, if they don't beat UNLV, that's a problem. And they've had a tough schedule. Washington State, Oregon State, UNLV, Boise State. Tough. That's a tough schedule. But even with the tough schedule, and even with teams that you were sitting there being like, yeah, they have no shot. I mean, going to face Utah State on the road this weekend, you got blown out by a backup quarterback and a backup running back. I understand. If you're frustrated, I understand. I'm frustrated too. You can be frustrated. It's okay. I think that's where sometimes the messaging gets kind of mixed up is because Sean Lewis is in his first year, you can't be frustrated with the product. You can be. It's okay. You're a fan. You can be frustrated with what you're watching.
You can be, but you have to still be somewhat realistic with it. You can't be frustrated because, how are we not in the college football playoff in the first year?
Well, that's different. I'm not. That's different. And I said, if you came into the season expecting to beat Boise State and UNLV and compete for a playoff spot in the college football playoffs, you're out of your mind. But I think, a team this year that if I were to predict the beginning of the season, okay, are they going to score more higher or lower than I'll say 25 points a game? I would have been yeah, go higher because of all the talk that Sean Lewis had, all the weapons that he brought in, and just a new direction of the program, which is going to be built on offense first. You don't call yourself Aztec fast to to be known for as a defensive program. You say you're Aztec fast because you're going to be known as a offensive-minded program. And this year's offense has put up 21 points a game. They have gotten blown out multiple times this year. They have lost 5 in a row. It's okay to be frustrated. But like you said, Brent, if in that frustration, you aren't thinking about it is a first-year head coach here at San Diego State. Not first-year head coach, but his first year at San Diego State. It is a completely different coaching staff and is a completely different roster. Then you need to kind of check your frustrations a little bit. If you say, you know what, look, I'm frustrated and I was hoping to see more this year in year one. All this talk, offensive-minded, Aztec fast, and Sean Lewis would tell you the same thing. He's frustrated as well. There is no way in hell, if we were talking to Sean Lewis, he would not say he is frustrated in some part of this program. No way in hell. Of course he is. Of course this team is frustrated with themselves. Of course this team wishes that they wouldn't make as many mistakes as they've made this year. Of course this team wishes that they could be better. Of course this team wishes that they could have put up 25 points a game instead of 21, or hell, 27 points a game. That's a touchdown more. Of course they wish they could do that. But they haven't. So everybody's frustrated. And what do they do with that? What do they do with this season moving into next year? Do they build, and do they take a step forward next year, and do they win 6 games to get to a bowl game? Hell, do they win 7 games? Or is it going to be another year where you're watching a team that can't move the ball consistently, can't put points on the board consistently, make too many errors, too many mistakes, and get blown out in multiple games? What's it going to be? That's the question going forward with this program. And the first year, Sean Lewis doesn't get a pass, but he gets the first year. And if in year 2, like we talked about to start the show, Brent, you're right. If in year 2 at this time next year, they're still putting up 22 points a game, 21 points a game. They just lost to X team 41-23. They're 4-7 on the year, or 5-6 on the year. 5-6 actually wouldn't be that bad considering it'd be an improvement, but still, it's not like something that you should throw a parade for.
No.
And then you get to year 3 and then year 4. I mean, that's when the real criticism is going to start coming down. If by year 3 and year 4, you're not legitimately contending for a Mountain West, well, actually you'd be in the Pac-12 championship. Because that's what Sean Lewis was brought here to do. Sean Lewis was brought here to change the style of play to become a more offensive-minded program. And yet in year 1, they're averaging a whopping 1 more point than last year's team. And that's got to improve next year by
it's an improvement.
Yeah, it's an improvement. Semantics. Yeah, next year you gotta put up at least a touchdown more a game. At least. And if you aren't, uh-oh. And I like Sean Lewis a lot. I think he was a great hire. I am not going back on that and saying that I was wrong. Hell no, I'm not saying that. Because that'd be stupid to just give up after 11 games. It would be. And we both agree. But I can still be disappointed in what I've seen so far. And I think that's perfectly fine to be disappointed. Absolutely. If you're an Aztec fan out there and you're not happy with the first year of Sean Lewis, you have the right to have that opinion and feel that way. But if you are a person out there that is not happy with the first year of Sean Lewis and thinks they should be fired and, move on and Sean Lewis should go and this team is blah, 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 then I'm like, you're probably letting your emotions get the best of you there.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, they wanted to get rid of Dutch too after the second year, and he turned out to be a pretty good coach.
pretty good. Yeah, like no way should they get rid of Sean Lewis. I hope Sean Lewis sees this thing out, and I hope by year 3 that this team is damn near putting up 40 points a game, and they are, competing for, now Pac-12 titles, and I hope that happens. But they right now, it feels like they have a long way from that. Long way from that. They're not putting up 32 points a game and still losing 42-32. They're putting up the same number of points as they did last year. And at times it's not looked good. So there's a lot of work to do, and it's okay to be frustrated, because I'm frustrated too with you. And the coaching staff and the players would tell you the same thing. Nobody's sitting there happy with the overall product of this year's football team. But it is early, and Sean Lewis, I hope, can turn things around in year number 2. And it ends on Saturday against Air Force. And all I got to say is just end the season on a little bit of a high. Please end the season on a little bit of a high. Do not end your season on a 6-game losing streak. Like, please don't do that. That would not be fun. That would not be fun. All right, coming up next, Chris Hodge will join us. And also Monday Night Football tonight, Chargers and Ravens. We'll dive into that game coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. So in the Athletic, teams, reporters do like Q&As. Dennis has Q&As all the time. And there was a Q&A in the Athletic. Dennis didn't write it. But there was a Q&A in the Athletic. And it was asking a Seattle reporter that covers their team, what would it take for Seattle to get Luis Arraez in a trade with the Padres? It says here, the report, it would take trading one of these starting pitchers, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, or George Kirby. In other words, the Padres aren't looking to move Arraez unless it makes their major league team better for 2025. And that's a big ask. That's a big time ask for Luis Arraez for a potentially only 1 year of Luis Arraez. That to me is like the asking price on Arraez could be pretty high. If those are the pitchers that would be in discussion. Logan Gilbert, I mean, take away his record, but he had a 3.23 ERA, 220 strikeouts last year for the Mariners. I'm sitting here kind of wondering to myself, I love Luis Arraez so much, but one of these players?
I guess it just
George Kirby, 3.53 ERA, 179 strikeouts on the season.
I think it depends on whether or not how much you value batting average and getting on base, I guess. If you go, oh, well, of course, that sounds fair. Arraez is a multiple time, batting champion, and, you need a good table setter. And
I don't think that this type of move would happen. The Mariners would be out of their mind if they traded either George Kirby or Logan Gilbert to the Padres for Luis Arraez. That to me would be insane. And I love Luis Arraez, but if that was on the table and the Mariners were good with that, thank you for your time here, Luis Arraez. Bring me Logan Gilbert or George Kirby.
What's their contract status?
Good question, Brent. It's a very good question.
Because I could see them doing that if they were in a situation like we were with Blake Snell or something, where it's like, oh, well, it's either we trade him and get something or we just let him go and get nothing.
Yeah, it's not happening because Logan Gilbert makes absolutely nothing. I mean, he's arbitration eligible after this season. He made $4 million last year. He's a free agent in 2028. Not happening. And George Kirby is it's even longer for him. Like he's not free agent until 2029. This past year he made $800,000. Not happening. The only way you trade for one of those two pitchers is Luis Arraez and something else. And Ethan Salas. Would love George Kirby or Logan Gilbert here to pair with Michael King and Yu Darvish and Dylan Cease for next season. But it's costing you way more than Luis Arraez. Way more. So I don't know if the Padres will be shopping Luis Arraez in the offseason. I've said it before. I hope not. I would be upset if they traded Luis Arraez away because of issues with the payroll. If they traded Luis Arraez away and they got a package with either George Kirby or Logan Gilbert, highly, highly, highly unlikely, but just humor me here, then I would do it probably in a heartbeat, honestly. If you're getting back one of these types of caliber pitchers under, the contract that they have, which is they are still in team control until 2028 and 2029. Like, that's what AJ Preller loves. He loves to go out and get guys that are under team control for a long period of time. Not going to happen with those two players, but if you can find somebody that's under team control for multiple years, so you can kill two birds with one stone here, a guy that can help you in 2025 and be under team control for longer than that, because your rotation in 2026, as of this moment right now, kind of looks a little wonky, then yeah. But it's going to take way more than just Luis Arraez to get a pitcher of that caliber. And if the Padres asking price for Luis Arraez, if they're planning on trading him, is a pitcher like that, then he's not going to get traded. Mariners would be stupid to do that deal. Would love it from the Padres perspective, but you'd probably also have to add like an Ethan Salas or a Leo DeVries, and that ain't happening either. All right, coming up next, Chris Hodge will join us for our weekly segment. Chris is joining us on Monday today because, Thursday's Thanksgiving. So Chris Hodge will join us coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Jim from Jon and Jim here talking about Hamuul Casino. Hamuul Casino, it's a great place to go to watch a sporting event. They have NBA, NHL, NFL, all the sporting events that you can keep your eyes on at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. It's a great place to be. Great food, great atmosphere. A couple things happening at Hamuul Casino this week. You can celebrate Thanksgiving all month long at Burgers and Shakes with their Turkey Day melt. You can indulge in the Thanksgiving calzone at their pizzeria. Then Thursday, November 28th, you can join them at Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining for football and all your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Also, every Monday night is Monday Night Live. One lucky winner each week will be driving home a brand new Mercedes-Benz C-Class for every Monday in November. You can also earn entries all month long by playing on Tuesdays, where you can earn 2-time entries there as well. Hamuul Casino, it has it all. It's fun above all else. All right, this update is brought to you by the San Diego Seals. We'll start with San Diego State football. Their final game of their season will be this Saturday, 7:30 kickoff against Air Force right here. You can listen to that game on San Diego Sports 760. Tomorrow, the Aztecs start their NIL tournament play as their first game will be at 11 a.m. against Creighton. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 as well. And big-time upset in college basketball this afternoon in the Maui Invitational as Memphis takes down number 2 UConn 99-97 in overtime. And NFL tonight, Monday Night Football, the Har Bowl right? The Hard Bowl. Chargers and Ravens, 5:15 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Get ready for the fastest game on 2 feet. Watch the San Diego Seals live in action Sunday, December 1st at 3 p.m. at Pechanga Arena. Tickets at sealslax.com. Plus, the first 1,500 fans through the door will take home a Trevor Baptiste bobblehead. Go to sealslax.com for more. All right, back here on Jon and Jim, short show today as the Chargers take on the Ravens. We have football at 4:15, so stay tuned for that. It's great that Chris Hodge is joining us this week, even though it is Thanksgiving week. So he's joining us a little earlier today. Chris, happy Thanksgiving week. What's the plans for Thanksgiving at the Chris Hodge household?
The same as it is July 15th. I look at my wife and I ask her what's for dinner.
Really? Okay. So it's
I don't know how to cook, man. I know how to pour milk into cereal.
Yeah, that's what Trent does, right? That's what we all do. Milk and cereal. It's the easy way to go. Well, is she a good cook, or should we even ask that question?
She is a great cook. That's why she puts pounds on me at a going rate that's probably not healthy.
Yeah, I love it. That's exactly right. My mom's coming to town, and she's a chef, so I have. So tonight, Chris, Monday Night Football. We talked about it last week, but once again, Chargers and Ravens give out the number for that game tonight for all of our listeners.
Yeah, same as always. Text the word win to the number 545454. You're going to get a pick on the total tonight. There's a lot going on with this now. Now, when I came on the show on Thursday, I actually gave a free pick on the side of this. So I'm going to get that out of here just to reiterate. Missed it. I picked the Chargers to win this game. I did the show on Thursday. I picked Kansas to beat Colorado on Saturday. They got the job done with the NFL yesterday. I'm telling you right now, I have the Chargers on the points on the side. The total, text the word win to the number 545454. But not just going to get that game. We have some big football action on Thursday. We got Chicago, Detroit. We're going to take care of that game. We're also going to give out, we're going to give the total in that game, and we're going to give out Black Friday action along with a big play on Saturday that we'll talk about in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I was go back to the Kansas Colorado game. I was thinking about you this weekend because I looked at that game. I was like, oh, he was right. Kansas, they played really well. And in Colorado, that you called it to a T, man. You called it to a T.
It's crazy with Kansas. They could be 10-1. Legitimately. That team lost 5 games in the last 2 minutes of games that they had won. There was only one game there, and they've been winning every game they've played this season in the fourth quarter. You know, but what do I tell you guys? Records and rankings. That's what teams look at. That's what guys look at when they're gambling. Records and rankings. That team is much better than what their record states.
Yeah, you nailed that pick to a T. So going to Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, Chicago, Detroit. What do you got in that one?
Well, if there was ever a guy that ended the world, it was the guy Tyreek Stevenson from Chicago. Literally, that guy dancing before Washington threw that Hail Mary, right, ended the world for the Chicago Bears. They have not won another game. They've been basically taken apart in every game with the exception of the Packers game. Look, yesterday went into overtime. They were getting the hell kicked out of them in that game. They just happened to score a couple late scores there to get the game into overtime. The last 2 weeks, they get a kick block to lose against the Packers. They come from behind yesterday late. They have some emotion. They lose to the Vikings. Week before that, they didn't even show up against the Patriots, got their offensive coordinator fired. The whole thing is going bad for Chicago. And I was watching the Detroit game yesterday. They really didn't play well yesterday. And they still comfortably beat a decent Colts team on the road. So I know this is a big spread, 10.5, but I can't see a way where Detroit wins this game by less than 2 touchdowns. I just can't see it happening. 31-17, something like that, because they're just that much better than Chicago. Chicago's on a 5-game losing streak where nothing has gone right. And, the fans of Detroit are excited right now, rightfully so. that team could go to the Super Bowl pretty easily. I know Philadelphia is pretty good, but I'm going to lay the 10.5 with Detroit. I think they're going to get the job done.
And then Friday, we have a Black Friday game. I mean, this week is crazy for you, I'm assuming. Like you have Thanksgiving, you have Black Friday, we have college basketball. Of course, the NFL's on Sunday as well. Like, this is a crazy week for you, huh?
It is. There's so much action going on. Plus, we have the Maui Invitational, which I know you mentioned earlier with that Memphis game, which was a great game to watch. I'm going to tell you something about Kansas City that a lot of people probably don't realize. This football team is 10-1 this year. They won one game by 13 points. Every other game has been basically a one-score game.
Yeah.
Right? So now that's the number they're laying against Las Vegas. Now, Las Vegas had the injury to Minshew yesterday where he broke his shoulder. And, Ritter's probably going to start. I don't know if they're going to bring anyone else in. So that's a tough situation. But at the end of the day, for some reason, and I said this on a radio show, they're 10-1. They're playing great, but they just don't look like the Chiefs, right? They just don't look like the team we've been accustomed to seeing. So as crazy as this is going to sound, and the Lions make that the bigger play. We're going to use a small play on Las Vegas because Kansas City just has not been blowing out teams. They barely beat Carolina. Carolina is terrible. And the last time they played Las Vegas, they only won by 7. So don't go nuts. Don't let it ruin your Black Friday, which is always going to be bad enough because your wife or girlfriend's going to be out spending all your money anyway.
True.
Okay, so don't let it get worse. But just small play on Las Vegas. I just think Kansas City wins the game by 10 or less. I think they win, but I don't think they cover.
Of course, the one game that Kansas City basically blew out their opponent was the 49ers game.
But even that, they only won that game by 10.
I know. Yeah. And they were much better than the 49ers that game, but it still was close in some aspect. Chris Hodge, Taking Vegas, joining us here on Jon and Jim for a couple more minutes. You have a really big play for this weekend. Do you want to tell our listeners what that is all about?
So, yeah, I mean, Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Love this game. I've loved it for 2 weeks. We've watched every Texas game the last few weeks. We've watched every Texas A&M game the last few weeks. I call this a chip play, which is Chris Hodge insider play. I only release one of these per year in college football, one in the NFL, and one in college basketball. That's it. There will never be another one. There's 3 total. I don't do the NBA. I can care less. And baseball, I don't even really watch because if it's not my Yankees, then it's not worth watching. So there's only one of these. I love this Texas A&M game. So if you text the word win to the number 545454, you get the free play tonight. You're going to be told how you can get involved with this game. Again, just text the word win to the number 545454. But Texas A&M, my biggest game of the year.
Love it. And then also, college basketball happening, San Diego State in the NIL tournament tomorrow, the Maui Invitational that we were just briefly talking about. You've done pretty well so far this year in college hoops.
Yeah, we're off to a 17-6 start. Right now we have Michigan State going. They're up by 17, so hopefully, they close this out and get the cover. But we've been really, really good with college hoops. We're going to have, we're actually going to be on the San Diego State Creighton game tomorrow. I know Creighton had an injury there. So we're going to be on that game. But yeah, college hoops is going well, 17-6. But like I said on your show a couple times now, the amount of work that my staff and myself are doing on college basketball is insane because of all the, new players, transfer portal, all the stuff going on. So it is definitely technical, but we are 17-6, off to a good start, and look to keep it going.
Love it. Love it. So once again, for our listeners, Chris, give out the number for them to call and what they can expect when they call that number.
Text the word win to the number 545454. And guys, you could text that every single day. Mm-hmm. We give out free picks every day. So if you want to, you need a game on a Thursday or a Saturday and just like, hey, what do they got? Just pull out your phone, text the word win to the number 545454. That's been our text line forever. Tonight, you're going to get the total between Baltimore and the Chargers. I've already given you guys the Chargers as the side, so use the total tonight as a parlay. We're going to have information on Thursday, Friday, on it to Saturday with the Texas A&M game. So very simple. Text win to 545454. And for the guy Jordan that keeps telling me that I'm boring, this guy keeps emailing me like, you're so boring on the air. Like I hope that was a little bit more interesting today. I don't know if it was, But like I always said, these gamblers want people yelling at them. I don't know why.
Maybe he's talking about me because everyone hates me, Chris, and everyone calls me an idiot. So
they don't like you either, huh? I get that too.
Yeah. I am the resident idiot of this show. And I just take it. So it is what it is. But on that note, have a happy Thanksgiving, Chris, and we'll talk to you next week. All right, man.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving as well, and best of luck. And again, text the word win to the number 545454.
Love it. Love it. So text the number, text win to the number 545454. You can get all of those plays for this week. Lot of things happening with this week. It's the best time of the year as far as sports go. College basketball tournaments, the Maui Invitational, the NIL tournament happening. You have college football getting ready for the end of the season, getting things lined up for the new college football playoffs. You have the NFL happening on Thursday and Friday and Sunday. It's the best time of the year for sports. All right. Coming up next, we'll get you ready for Monday Night Football, Chargers and Ravens. The latest on Roki Sasaki. I'll give you that coming up next on Jon and Jim. The Aztecs basketball team is in Vegas for the Players Era Festival tomorrow morning. San Diego State takes on Creighton. Our pregame with John and Fletch starts at 10 a.m. We'll have the tip after 11 here on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760.
I think maybe you should be the new liners guy.
So I just saw this report.
You didn't have your headphones in.
Sorry, I didn't know what you say.
I said I think maybe you should be the new liners guy because you actually read them.
Oh, I know.
I don't read them out of order.
Well, I think
we'll switch that back a month when John comes back.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I just think it's just like what you're supposed to do. I don't know.
You are 100% correct.
I just have them, and I'm like, okay, starting off the segment, and we'll read the liner and we'll get into what we're going to talk about. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I agree.
You hear that, John? So I just saw this report. Again, we talked about, being careful what you run with earlier in the show with the Roki Sasaki. This guy Joseph Kim on Twitter, who has gotten a couple things right. I think he might be a reporter from Korea, and I really don't know, but he mentioned today that Sasaki's interested in the Padres, and I said, okay. Actually, I said, okay. I'm not going to really run with it. I wish I could, but I'm not going to. I kind of feel the same way about Bob Nightingale, but at least Bob I know, and at least Bob has at least a shred of credibility. It's not much, but he has a little bit. And Bob Nightingale's reporting that the Dodgers are only in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes to drive up the price of Juan Soto, and that they are aggressively looking to add at least one top-tier free agent starting pitcher to their rotation. On the list, Blake Snell, Corbin Burns, Max Fried. Okay. Okay. I never truly believed the Juan Soto to the Dodgers rumor because, they're making a boatload of money, but do they need Juan Soto? No.
Do they need half the guys they have?
Well, yeah. I think they needed Teoscar Hernandez. I think they needed Shohei Ohtani to get over the hump. They needed Tyler Glasnow, even though he got hurt and didn't pitch. They absolutely. I mean, the one thing I will give the Dodgers credit for this past year, and I trembled there because I'm giving them credit for something. Like, their success in the postseason was built off of guys like Tommy Edman and Kike Hernandez and Walker Buehler and their bullpen, Michael Kopech, Blake Trinan. Yes, Shohei had an amazing postseason. Same thing with Mookie, Freddie Freeman, World Series MVP, Teoscar Hernandez on a 1-year deal. Max Muncy did nothing in the postseason. Will Smith did nothing in the postseason. Tyler Glasnow didn't throw a pitch for them in the postseason. And they won the World Series. Do they need Juan Soto? No, but do I need a soda out of that vending machine? No, but I want it. I want it. I'm not comparing Juan Soto to a Coke can, but I'm also saying that the Dodgers are in a luxury time of their franchise where they're getting these players because it's more of a luxury than a necessity. They don't really need starting pitching, but they want starting pitching. Do they need Juan Soto? No, but they probably want Juan Soto. And then it goes back to, where will Juan Soto go? When will he sign? Steve Cohen, the Mets owner today, talking at a golf event, said that the ball's in Juan Soto's court now. He either says yes or he says no. And they're going to offer a boatload of money to him. What's that offer like? Is it going to be $600 million? Is it going to be $700 million? We'll wait and see. But I feel confident in saying Juan Soto will not go the entire offseason being a free agent. He will sign it sometime in December. I believe that, especially with the Mets in play. The Mets don't wait around. They give you an offer, and they're not going to sit there and let it simmer. They're going to probably more likely pay you. You know, the whole Carlos Correa thing last year. They were never in on Carlos Correa, but he became available, and they're like, sure, okay. And then it fell through because of the medicals and whatnot. But if the Dodgers are only in on the sweepstakes to drive up his price, even if the Dodgers weren't in on the sweepstakes, his price was still going to be $600+ million. When you get to that range, what's $25 to $50 million more? It's like, oh, we're going to pay him $600. No, we're going to pay him $650. Semantics, $50 million more. I get it. Like going from $50 million to $100 million. Okay, that's a jump. Going from $600 million to $650 million, in my mind, doesn't feel like that big of a jump to me because you're already giving them well over $500 million. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Or, like from a standpoint of like 50 to 100, I feel like that's a jump. 600 to 650, it's a jump, but it's not like a crazy jump. And if you're going to offer somebody $600 million, then you better be prepared to offer him $650 million. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're going to be outbid once you get to the 600 million range, that's just on you. Like
you don't think it'd be a good look to get prices righted right at the last moment? Our final bid is 600. The Dodgers bid 601.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's once you get to that number, you're like, we're already pot committed. We're already completely all in on this. What's another X amount of dollars? But when you go from like 50 to 100, that to me is like, okay, good. Glad you're out on that. You know? So we'll see what happens with Juan Soto. If the Dodgers are truly just in on him to drive the price up, I mean, the price has already been driven up to like max value. It's not gonna like get lowered. It's only going to go up, even without the Dodgers, because the Yankees are in on Juan Soto and the Mets are in on Juan Soto and the Phillies are in on Juan Soto. So guess what? Those three teams alone, that's enough to drive the price up on Juan Soto. And I don't think the Dodgers would ever just be in on a player to drive up the price. Why? They are in on Juan Soto because they probably want to sign Juan Soto. So if they're in on somebody, they're not the team that drive up a price. They're just not. If the you know, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a team like the Twins, right? Like I don't know, I'm throwing out a team, random team. But that's a team I would perceive to be like driving up a price because they're never going to sign Juan Soto. They're just in it to help out, or not help out, but just to drive up the price because he might go to a division rival. He's not a division rival with the Twins, but that's, you know, the Toronto Blue Jays. All right. The Blue Jays are not getting Juan Soto. The Orioles are not getting Juan Soto. The Red Sox not getting Juan Soto. Those teams are in it maybe to drive up the price because likely he's going to go to a division rival. Padres aren't in on Juan Soto. The Giants aren't in on Juan Soto. The D-backs sure as hell aren't in on Juan Soto, and the Rockies aren't in on anybody.
Soto doesn't need the Dodgers to, you know, make fake bids or to pretend they have interest to get his price up. Boris will do that for him. You know, it's not like Boris is not all of a sudden just gonna, you know, oh, I'm sorry, he won't do it. A mystery leak will come out about how, oh, there's a new fourth mystery team in the Juan Soto sweepstakes, and it'll be a team that has nothing, you know, like how the Padres keep getting brought up and all these things, and they don't have money to afford any of these guys, but they keep getting brought up because, you know, their agents are leaking things out into the ether to try and get the price raised themselves. They don't need the Dodgers' help doing that.
No, they don't. And the Dodgers don't need anybody's help either with money and contracts because they can pretty much pay whoever they want. It's about, are they willing to do it or not? And the scarier thought, more scary than Juan Soto, is that they are aggressively going after a starting pitcher, and not just a starting pitcher, like a top starting pitcher. That's way more scarier than, in my opinion, them, you know, being in talks with Juan Soto, because I don't think Juan Soto signed with the Dodgers. I do think that they will sign a starting pitcher though. And that's way more likely to happen than Juan Soto going to LA.
I wouldn't put anything past them, honestly. I would think that they wouldn't, but as soon as I say that, then we'll come in tomorrow and
they signed Juan Soto and Corbin Burns. Great. Awesome. Great. Must be nice. Here's San Diego State basketball. Creighton. Great. Awesome. All right, coming up next, we will preview that San Diego State Creighton game tomorrow morning right here on San Diego Sports 760 and get you ready for Monday Night Football, Ravens and Chargers. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by the San Diego Seals. Monday Night Football, moments away between the Ravens and Chargers in LA. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. San Diego State football's final game of their season will be this Saturday night against Air Force here at Snapdragon Stadium, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And tomorrow morning, late morning, 11 a.m., San Diego State takes on Creighton in the NIL Players Tournament in Las Vegas. Again, you can listen to that as well right here on San Diego Sports 760. Our pregame starts at 10 a.m. Get ready for the fastest game on 2 feet. Watch the San Diego Seals live in action Sunday, December 1st at 3 p.m. at Pechanga Arena. Tickets at sealslax.com. Plus, the first 1,500 fans through the doors will take home a Trevor Baptiste bobblehead. Go to sealslax.com today.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
This is interesting. So predictions, right? Predictions on where players are going to go in free agency. I don't take much stock in it, but it's a 4-hour show. Got to talk about something. So we're going to talk about predictions for free agents.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, final stop here on Jon and Jim. Moments away from Monday Night Football, Ravens and Chargers. Stay tuned for that. Tomorrow morning, San Diego State in the Players Era Festival, their opening round game will be against Creighton, 11 a.m. And the news from Creighton is that Stephen Ashworth, their star point guard, probably will not play in that game due to a heavily reported sprained ankle. And that is a huge blow to Creighton. This guy leads the team in assists. He's averaging 16 points a game, 5 rebounds a game. He's been great for them. And without him tomorrow, for Creighton, advantage San Diego State. Now, do they have an answer for Ryan Kalkbrenner? I don't know. A guy, he's shooting 87% from the field, Brent. Ryan Kalkbrenner shooting 87% from the field.
That's pretty good.
That is very good. Averaging damn near 22 points a game. He had almost that 50 burger a couple weeks ago. And it will not be easy, even though Creighton lost their last game to Nebraska. They're still going to be favorites tomorrow morning. But it is, something to look at that you potentially will be facing Creighton without one of their best players. Now San Diego State's without one of their best players too, and Reese Waters. But Ashworth has done it all for Creighton this year. And losing 16 and damn near 7 assists a game, that's a big loss in my opinion. So while San Diego State is definitely an underdog tomorrow morning,
4.5.
You won't have to face one of their best players. Kalkbrenner will still be a handful. Magoon Gwath, going through the ringer right now. Graham Ike right into Ryan Kalkbrenner. Like, that is a back-to-back that not many big men would love to have to face at all.
Well, this is always the beauty of, Brian Dutcher. Yeah. Well, not just the tournaments, of just Brian Dutcher's, non-conference scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of these coaches that, he recognizes that by playing, all these great programs in non-conference, you're going to help yourself for conference, and you're going to help yourself when tournament time comes around.
And they play tomorrow morning, then they play Wednesday afternoon, and then Saturday will be the final day of the tournament. And you would love if they just got 1 win here. 2, I think that's kind of like dream scenario. Obviously 3-0 would be amazing, but if you told me right now they would get 2 wins out of this tournament, I am taking that, no questions asked, because Oregon ain't going to be easy either.
No, they're always solid.
Oregon is 5-0, put up a lot of points, and that's going to be a tough matchup. And then the reseeding of everything and not knowing who they play on Saturday will be a difficult task because you won't have much time to prepare. Now, Thursday, Friday, but Thursday's Thanksgiving. Friday would be, I'm assuming, a travel day to get back to Las Vegas for Saturday's game. Or they're probably staying throughout the week, is my guess. I would assume. I'm thinking about John's schedule, not the Aztec schedule, because John's coming back to San Diego. San Diego will probably stay in Las Vegas Maybe they'll go to Miles Bird's house for Thanksgiving dinner.
No, that's true. They could.
Makes sense. But it's going to be a very difficult tournament, all things considered as well. You're missing Reese Waters. Miles Bird is coming back from an injury. Did not look good against Gonzaga on Monday night. Hopefully a week of practice helped him get back in rhythm. And if they could split these first 2 games, that would fantastic. Fantastic. And then whatever happens Saturday, hopefully the matchup favors you. Pick up a win. Even if it doesn't, you go 2-1 this tournament, dream scenario. But you have to, at least in my opinion, get at least 1 win out of this tournament. Going 0-4 here through a stretch of Gonzaga, and then Creighton, then Oregon, then whoever on Saturday, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. You get one of these wins, that's good for your resume. But you go 0-4 in this stretch here, not great. Not great at all. So tomorrow, 11 a.m., they take on Creighton. It's always fun going up against a team that you have good memories against. Like, I know John put on Twitter this morning the video of when they beat Creighton in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four. And all Aztecs fans will have that ingrained in their memory forever. So whenever you think of Creighton, it's always a good feeling, even if they lose tomorrow. If 5-10 years from now, like, you could face Creighton, I don't know, 5 more times and go 0-5 against Creighton in the regular season, or even like a first round of the tournament. But you'll always have that memory of beating Creighton to advance to a Final Four. The Darion Trammell free throw. That memory is it's like burned into your brain if you're an Aztec fan. So hopefully tomorrow morning, the good vibes are still there. Take down Creighton, which would be awesome. You can split these first 2 games. And if you don't beat Creighton, beat Oregon, then go into Saturday, in my opinion, playing kind of with house money. That's how I would view it. You split these first 2. You're going into Saturday feeling like it's house money. Like, you win, amazing. If you lose, it sucks, but it's still not the end of the world because you split and you at least picked up 1 win in this tournament. The biggest thing isn't even the wins and losses. It's the fact that you got $1 million in, this tournament for NIL. That's by far the biggest thing with this tournament. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. And I hope they can pick up at least 1 win in this tournament. Moments away from Monday Night Football, Chargers and Ravens. So stay tuned here. Real quick, this has nothing to do with sports, but you know what I watched last night, Brent, that I actually really, really liked, and I'm going to recommend it, and I think you should watch it too.
What?
It's a movie.
That narrows it down.
I nerded out last night. Didn't get much play in the box office, but it got very, very good reviews for it. Yes, I'm a nerd. Transformers 1.
Oh.
What do you mean, oh?
It didn't look very appealing to me.
Dude, it is so good. It is so good. Especially if you're a Transformers fan. You got to watch it. Dude, it is a good movie. You think it's like a kid, like, what do you think this movie is like the vibe of it? Kiddie, funny, goofy, right?
Kiddie and pointless. I didn't see the...
Nope. It is not kiddie, and it's
the whole thing of Megatron and Optimus being BFFs ahead of time was just like, really?
I'm telling you right now, dude.
It's on Paramount, isn't it?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Maybe I'll watch it.
It is definitely more than meets the eye.
Jeez. you did the whole thing just for that setup.
You're welcome. It's a good movie, dude. It is a good movie. It is not kiddie. It's actually way funnier than I thought. Like, way funnier. And it is if you're a Transformers fan, it is a great origin film. And it actually, like, at one point, like it kind of gets a little bit emotional. I'm dead serious. Dude, don't be laughing. It's a good movie. You watch it, you will not come away thinking that was a waste of time. That was stupid. Some people are saying this is the best Transformers movie they've ever seen. Like, that's how people are talking about this movie. And it just came out on streaming. So.
Who said that? Joe Kim?
No, not Joe Kim. Not Joe Kim. It got really good ratings, dude. It got really good ratings. Just it had horrible marketing. Had a horrible marketing and a horrible trailer. Because the trailer, it doesn't do the movie justice. It's not even like the movie is completely different than what the trailer is trying to convey. That it's like goofy and funny and there's no point to it. There's a point. Absolutely, there's a point to it. And I think it's a really good movie. So there you go. Transformers 1. That's my movie of the week. And recommendation for you all out there.
I thought you were going to tell us you would watch Wicked.
I will actually be watching Wicked this upcoming weekend because Aaron wants to watch it because she's obsessed with it. I heard there's good things about that movie too. And I will talk about that next week. Monday Night Football, Ravens and Chargers coming up next. Talk to you tomorrow after San Diego State takes on Creighton, hopefully after they beat Creighton. So make sure you're tuning in for that at 11 a.m. Chargers, Ravens coming up next right here on San Diego Sports 760. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.